The Cellar is a 2025 independent psychological horror film directed by Jamie Langlands. It tells a story and follows Abigail, played by Megan O'Dara, who is a young woman who wakes up in this rather interesting situation in a dark cell with no memory of how she got there, why she's there. And as she's trying to figure out what's going on, you, the viewer, the audience, are trying to figure out that as well. It's just a really interesting take on how horror is. And you think, oh, I've seen horror movies like this. No, you haven't, especially with The Cellar. The idea of this movie, I really want to know how it came about, because the idea of the claustrophobic nightmare, the nuance of like what this character goes through. You get the flashbacks, you get the present, you get her trying to get out of situations. It's like, okay, what more can you put this character through in order for her to get out? And it's like, why is she even there in the first place? She must fight to survive, uncovering everything and even the chilling truth about her situation. It's a cat and mouse game. It's I will say, a psychological horror where to the point where it's trying to figure out the puzzle pieces of, all right, does this make sense? Is this going to connect to the previous scene? How is everything going to wrap up? What's going to happen? The film explores trauma and fear in a really, really interesting way. It molds the pieces together. Not only that, and you also see terrifying things of the unknown. And this whole cellar aspect thing, the shadows, the blocking, the rule of thirds, really, really done well in a film like this. The acting is really well done and stands out in this movie for me. Megan O'Dara as Abigail is fun. It's believable, and you can tell that she put all her acting into this role. And you definitely can see that Jamie Langlands directed her in a very, very unique way. Not only that, whenever I see a horror movie, whenever I'm watching a horror movie, if the character is in danger, you have to look at their facial expressions, their eyes, for me especially. And I will say the terror that the character of Abigail has in her eyes in certain situations is just really pronounced, and it's really, really interesting. The film does have a mix of, kind of its creepy visuals, also put in with the aesthetic of the sound design, which I absolutely loved. And you could say, oh, the sound design in horror films have been done before. No, it's different, it's unique, it's intricate, and it's to the point where it's like the tension works as well with the horror aspect and the horror sounds and the sound design of how everything's going. Because you yourself don't know what's happening, but it weaves in also dread moments, like that feeling of dread, that wash of emotion, that depression aspect. It's a really, really interesting film from start to finish, and I will say, not only that, when the secret slowly comes out as to the situation as what's going on, how is happening, and how everything is happening, you will sit back and go like, okay, wait a minute. Did that really happen? Is it all in her mind? Because it's a psychological horror film, and when it's a psychological horror film, you're like, hold on, wait, is this character going through it, or am I seeing? It's like, it's a really interesting thing about how this was done, how everything was put together. The story I thought I wouldn't like, but I absolutely did enjoy it a lot. And I will say that the pacing was really, really good. It was very quick, though. I feel like you could have drawn it out a little bit more with the story, because a lot more could have been, come out of it. Listen, Jamie Langlands is a director to watch for, because if he can do something like this for an indie horror film, then it's prominent to push things forward in the industry. And indie horror for the past, I will say, 3 years, starting from 2022, has been really, really gaining prominence. And this is one of those films that will be talked about where you say, okay, do you know of any good indie horror films? Well, yes, The Cellar is one of them. There are so many horror films called The Cellar with different ideas and different aspects, but one thing that stands out in this is the acting, and how Megan O'Dara really, really, honed in on her craft. The only thing is, I just wanted it a little bit longer, a little bit more fleshed out in a way. But other than that, it was really, really fun and really, really well done. For me, The Cellar gets 4 out of 5 film reels. I do want to thank director Jamie Langlands for giving me an early screener to this. Thank you so, so much. And let me know in the comment section what you thought about The Cellar. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? What did you think about the aspect of the story, the look, the feel? Did you like the idea that it was more so psychological than any other horror film that you've seen before? How did you like Megan Adara's acting as Abigail? And what other indie films do you think, horror-wise, has fit this mold? Let me know in the comment section about all the questions I just asked. I'm Mr. Filmstock. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you all in the next review video.